Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to the Nerds at Large Spoilercast for Captain Marvel. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mann.
And Jeff, it's been a minute since we did a movie spoilercast. I think Infinity War was the last one.
Yeah, we don't see. Well, I don't see as many movies.
And this past year, I've barely seen any movies.
I
saw the Meg. I should have gotten Dad on here for me and Dad.
Yeah,
that would probably be like the best Nerds at Large content we've ever done. Is me and Dad talking about the Meg.
Nice. Well, Darby, that might be ramping up, our movie things.
Oh,
might have Shazam in a couple weeks. We're not committing necessarily that one. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe that one, but definitely Infinity War and
probably Detective Pikachu. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and
we need Spider-Man after that.
Scheme to get Alex on here for Detective Pikachu.
I don't think we need a scheme. I think he'll be in. He seems to be more open to this now.
So. I think he'd do it. But that's not what we're talking about here. But and we are going to be back for our weekly Game of Thrones spoilercasts.
Oh yeah,
next month. I am stoked to do that because that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, even though I'll warn you, I'm a really big book person, and Jeff just is happening to align with a lot of my thoughts on it. Both of us are a lot more kind of iffy on the direction of Game of Thrones the last few seasons, so we might have unpopular opinions. So if you want them hot takes, get ready to be here for us. But today we were talking about Captain Marvel. If you've never watched one of our spoilercasts before, we are going to be spoiler-free for a little bit, and then I'll make it very, very, very clear whenever we're transitioning into the full spoilers. So, Jeff, right off the bat, let's talk about Captain Marvel. General thoughts, what we thought about the movie. I thought it was a very fun movie. I think it was... Marvel has proven to us that they don't really make bad movies anymore.
Yeah.
It's like even the mid-tier Marvel movie is still a really good movie. And I do think Captain Marvel, if I had to do my rankings, it would be lower than my heart feels.
Yeah.
It would seem wrong.
Potentially it could be on the lower end. I mean, yeah, we would also think we might, I guess also.
Or at least middle, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the way it would work, we'll have a couple on the bottom. It is a giant jump in quality to get to the lower, middle, and then onwards. I imagine is the way it would go for both of us.
Yep.
Thor, Dark World at the bottom.
With a bullet. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I think it definitely had problems. And, I don't think Captain Marvel's problems, we'll get into it, but I don't think, I have trouble saying it had problems because I don't think there was anything that was just aggressively bad about this movie. There was also nothing aggressively great about this movie. You know what I mean? It was just it was good. It was a good, fun Marvel movie on all stages.
Yeah, they got them better at it, but yeah, it is just another Marvel origin story. They just kind of stick to this generally the same general formula without mixing up too much, which can make for good movies, especially at this point. But yeah, these aren't the movies where they go crazy.
Yeah, and it's not the ones that we're going to be when we just talk about the MCU as a whole, I don't think we're going to bring up Captain Marvel too much, this specific movie.
Yeah. We'll bring up her character.
Yes, and I'll say, going forward, I am, even with some of my, somewhat, reservations about this movie, I love Carol Danvers. It's such a funny name. But I love her. I love Captain Marvel as a character. And I'm so excited to see her interact with everyone else.
Yep.
Everything going forward. Even if some parts of her origin was kind of iffy, I think she's really good. And it's going to be exciting to go forward with that. Yeah. I'll say going forward, starting off, the trailers, I think everyone was kind of so on the Captain Marvel trailers. I don't think I didn't think they were as bad as some other people did.
Yeah, I feel and I mentioned this when we were talking, off mic, camera, whatever. I think people have a little revisionist history. People were kind of similar with Black Panther.
Oh yeah, totally.
And then obviously it changed when people saw it. People aren't as raving about this Black Panther necessarily, but I think people kind of forget how mad they generally were with Black Panther.
Oh, and I was not that interested in Black Panther. I was like, yeah, he was all right in Civil War. I don't really know anything about him.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, you know, seems like we're reaching the bottom of the barrel of the Marvel heroes or whatever. I was totally one of those people saying that. And then, you go in there and you're like, oh, never mind. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing is, like, you know, some of Brie Larson's lines just felt awkward in the trailer, felt like kind of blah or wooden in there. And as I expected, pretty much every like moment in the trailer or something that was a little like, about, I think her lines and just her character in general just made a lot more sense in the full picture as it went on.
Also, what also I think helps is there was more Samuel L. Jackson.
A lot more. This is a buddy cop movie. I mean, like, he is definitively the number 2. Like,
I mean, I think he's been in. He was in this movie more than he was in like any of the other movies. Yeah. We were talking about that before. Maybe kind of like put together, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, because like I
approaching
think
it.
The closest one would be like the
original
Avengers, and there's no way he was in it anywhere near as much as this. No, he was like such a part of this, and I think that was smart. He made the movie. I loved that and it was cool to see Samuel L. Jackson be able to kind of let loose more, because the Nick Fury he plays in all the other movies is a way more kind of beaten, grizzled, serious man. But he got to, because it's set in the 90s, it's way before this stuff happened, he was a lot more of his own 90s self. Mm-hmm. You know, he was like the Pulp Fiction, like that kind of, obviously not that dark, but he was like a kind of more wild, young version of himself. Yeah,
I think it helps with this maybe the fact that, since it was Fury and Carol's movie for the most part, obviously Carol more than anyone, but Fury right after her, having someone kind of familiar, whether it be because we've seen Nick Fury appear throughout the cinematic universe, or just because it's Samuel L. Jackson, pretty much being Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes. And they let him do that.
Yes.
Which is very smart. Very smart to do. I think some of the action in this movie, I think it's a little like hit or miss. Some of it I feel like was like, especially towards the end, some of it was like super cool stuff. There was like some really cool things, and I think Captain Marvel in general, just her powers kind of lend itself to
spectacle.
To spectacle, absolutely. But I do think there was some of the choreography in this movie was, we're coming off of Avengers and some of this other stuff, when obviously those big ensemble pieces have a lot more money and time and stuff put into it. Like, I think the budget for this movie was like $150, which is really low for a lot of Marvel movies. I think it was something around that. Like, that's what the Phase 2 like older movies had. That's pretty low.
I can see that,
comparatively. Which I can see that. So I mean, I think that was kind of hit or miss, but for the most part, it was really cool looking. The scroll took me a little bit to get used to, but after I did, I will say the one thing that I did not like at all is the scroll. You could tell they were like trying to talk in this costume, and their voices were like muffled. Like whoever, Brandon Middleton or whoever plays like the central scroll dude, when he just starts talking, he's like, ruff, ruff, ruff. It's like, come on, guys.
It's like Corey Taylor talking to Slipknot mask.
Yes, that's what it felt like.
I love watching Corey Taylor's like live things. You can tell like there's spit in the mask in his mouth and stuff. It's like, I like you could go with the get up, but maybe take the mask off, be better for the performance.
I'm sure he would like to. He's like, can we all just
That's probably why I prefer Stone Sour. I mean, I prefer Stone Sour for that reason.
It's too hot.
Yeah, especially since they always perform during the summer.
Yeah, at least they probably close pretty much everything nowadays, so that makes it a little bit better. But it's still hot. Yeah. So that could have been a little bit better. I think some of the supporting cast was weak. There was I'll get into the specifics when we get into spoilers. I think if Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson were not as strong as they were, like, obviously it would be rough. But they are the central focus. Yeah,
they were. There's hardly a time where one of them weren't on screen or in the scene. So but Darby, we're going to talk about the best character, Goose. Goose.
We won't get into everything about why Goose is great, but Goose is the cat and he's adorable.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to get bored. I thought I was going to get annoyed with Samuel Jackson. I mean, Nick Fury loves Goose. Just spoilers, he loves Goose. And I thought I was going to get bored with that, and I did not. It was pretty great throughout.
Goose better be in Endgame, is all I'm saying.
Before we get into spoilers, let's just talk a little bit about how do you think this movie felt as a prequel? Because like that can be a problem, I feel like, a lot of times. And that's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, I think a first for the MCU. Or at least this hard of a prequel. It was just like dealing with.
What do you mean by prequel? Because it's Captain America: First Avenger.
Yeah. I mean, I guess this one just felt more like this one was actually touching up against the rest of the MCU a little bit more than that. I mean, like, I guess how did you feel about that? Like the elements of this that was leading it to. Like, did this feel like the real Nick Fury to you? Did it feel like Nick Fury in the 90s?
Yeah, I mean, you can argue maybe it's a little contrived. The reason why. Well, this might be getting into kind of spoiler. Never mind. I'll stop there.
Yeah, we're
getting to kind of spoiler.
We're
stuff.
about to transition.
My answering to that.
Yeah.
Because. Yeah.
Okay.
Overall, I thought it was. I thought the whole, I guess, being a prequel on a way to Infinite or Endgame, or at least parts of it.
Yeah.
Because hey, spoiler, Captain Marvel's in there. That's not really a spoiler. Yeah. So
you knew if you watched Endgame that you watched Infinity War.
Yeah. So. I thought it was a good way to do that. I thought, arguably, it can be a little. You can say it'd be a little contrived. Her being introduced to this world, but I thought they did it well, and it made sense. I mean, yeah. We'll get into that kind of stuff. Maybe some complaints people had about all that, but yeah.
Yeah, I have a few complaints, but they're kind of spoilery complaints. But for the most part, I liked it. Yeah, I think we're about ready to move on. Last time, the 90s references didn't make me laugh. Or they weren't quite as good as I wanted them to be, but there was a few. There's a few pretty good ones.
Yeah.
There's a few pretty good ones.
I still want to see Carol punch Thanos.
I mean, you're probably going to see Carol punch Thanos.
I want it.
I just like, she also needs to use the Mohawk mask way more than she does. That's the biggest complaint on in the entire movie. All right, from this point onwards, first, do you recommend going to see this movie in theater?
Yeah, I mean, if you're into Marvel, if you're into the general Marvel formula, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't like this. Is it the most necessary movie before Endgame? It's hard to say without seeing Endgame, I guess.
Yeah, because like it's one of those things. Captain Marvel she probably is going to be a pretty big part of Endgame. So I mean, like knowing her character going in will probably feel better. Like you'll probably like want that. So it's one of those things. I'd say like if it's not that much of a hassle to go see it or something like and there's definitely a reason they did this. They want you to go see Captain Marvel to get ready for Endgame.
Yeah.
But
I think it helps that it's a month before Endgame comes out.
Overall, as a movie in the MCU, if Endgame wasn't coming right up, I would tell you, hey, if you really like these Marvel movies and everything and you love seeing them in the theater, because they're really good in the theater. They're like a visual crazy spectacle. I would say, go see it. But I also think that if you were on the fence, this is one you could wait till Netflix. I don't think that this is like you have to see Endgame in the theater. There's no question about it. I don't think this is necessarily.
This ain't no Endgame.
No. But all right, moving into spoilers from this point onward. Make sure you have either seen Captain Marvel or you just don't care about spoilers. Yeah, you have been warned. It's happening. Go away. Go away. 3, 2, 1. Goose tentacles.
Goose tentacles. Goose pocket dimension.
Is that the biggest spoiler in this movie? I think that's the biggest spoiler in this movie is goose tentacles.
I mean, if we're being honest, in a way, yeah. Because that's the most shocking thing in there.
I was surprised.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. People who read the comics might have been like, yeah, of course, he's a flurb and Gerban.
Yeah.
So. Goose tentacles. All right, bye, you guys.
See ya.
Thanks for
That's the movie, guys.
All right.
I guess we can do what we normally do and just kind of start from the beginning, go through it.
The plot.
Yeah, so it starts in the beginning. We have Carol having a little nightmare where it's it's like an alien planet type thing with her. What turns out to be Marvel dead on the floor, and what Carol sees as a Skrull coming and shooting her and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Wakes up. She goes in. She wakes up.
Jude Law. I don't know what his character's name is.
Yeah. On Hala, which is the Kree's capital planet, where Carol's been leaving for a while. Jan Rog is Jude Law's name.
Oh God, Yonrog?
Is YON-ROGG.
Jeff, he's Jude Law. I'm sorry. He's Jude Law for the rest of this podcast.
That is fair.
We learned that she is a soldier for the Kree, and he's kind of her like mentor-esque person.
Yep, and you can kind of tell kind of right away. It's like, hey, Carol's the only one with these powers.
Yes.
And after they train a little bit, blah blah blah, be sassy and all that kind of stuff. Carol goes sees the supreme intelligence.
Yes, which this AI thing that takes the
form of the person you most admire, which for Carol is Marvel, even though she didn't know who that was at the time. She's like, I don't know who this is, but this is who I'm seeing, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the, that was a good way to set up, hey, this is what the Kree, just how the Kree's society set up, and it shows, hey, they have control of Carol's powers because of the little chip thing on her neck.
They're like, what has been given can be taken away.
Yeah. Even though we didn't technically give it to you, I guess we kind of, I don't know.
She doesn't know that.
Yeah, she doesn't know. You're the one with these powers for reasons, and I guess you questioned them earlier, but we just didn't see it on screen.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, yeah, she has amnesia, by the way.
Yeah, which I guess, how do you feel about that? Because I usually hate that, and I don't love it, but I feel like it was handled decently.
Yeah.
I feel like it was handled okay here. I mean, at least there was kind of like someone, I don't know. Like, for some reason, it didn't bother me as much. I still don't love amnesia as a plot point. I think it's just.
I feel like one reason it works better here than a lot of other things because we're not doing the whole thing of, hey, she's meeting people that she's known her whole life, and half the movie is her being like, I don't know you. When she meets someone she actually knows, for the most part, she gets her memories back pretty quick, or at least.
Yeah, it's really only that really only happens with her friend, and then
like 2 seconds. I
Yeah,
mean, it's not that big, but
and
she kind of has vague memories of her at that point anyway, or seen some stuff. So
yeah,
it didn't portray a lot of the annoying tropes that come with the amnesia thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why you.
That probably is. Yeah, because for some reason I usually hate it a lot more than I did.
No,
But
normally it's. I mean, not like this was master storytelling, but this was done better than a lot of the cases.
yeah, and at least it was.
To be fair, I watched a lot of anime, so my references are skewed.
And they kind of got through it, decently fast. But
yeah. So do that. Bring Supreme Intelligence. They go on a mission or whatever, try to catch or meet up with agent or whatever. Skrulls ambush them.
Look like straight up Halo.
Yeah.
I was kind of into it.
Yeah.
Halo movie.
And Kale's captured by the Skrulls on the planet. They look into her memories, and that's how she gets some of it back.
And I really like the editing in this whole flashback thing, because it was just like really trippy, and it takes you a little bit to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just see her, like suddenly you're seeing like, oh, these are kind of these like these scenes we've seen in the trailer. It's like, oh wow, or what's going on, and it's just like flipping back and forth through her memories. I just thought that like the way they like set that up and like just made it super strange at first, and then you hear the guy's voice and you kind of start to figure out what's going on. I just liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that was really well done.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, and that's how Carol gets some of her memory back, where he's like, hey, I forgot things or whatever, being suspicious of her life, pretty much.
Yes.
She breaks out. She kicks butt while in shackles and makes things explode and all that fun stuff.
It was fun.
Escapes to Earth, lands in a blockbuster. That more than anything is to say, hey, we're in the 90s.
It's the 90s, get it? And, yeah. That was unfortunately, obviously, the trailer we already knew she was landing in the blockbuster. But I do I kind of appreciated that, like, you all knew the blockbuster was coming, but you didn't know the Radio Shack was coming. It's okay, cute,
Yeah.
It's cute. But one thing that kind of bugged me here is like, I don't completely buy the whole almost fish out of water thing they had when like she walks up to the cop person who's like, all right, well, it starts asking like, where's your leader, your communications, or whatever she, like, I'm like, I'm
part of the whatever star, whatever for the Kree or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm just like, she should know that this random planet out here that's like, I feel like her being like a Kree soldier going to all these planets and stuff, I didn't completely buy that she, like, she should know that
not everyone knows.
That not everyone knows everything that's going on out there. And like that felt a little like cheap to me that they just wanted that moment of like, oh, she doesn't belong here, you know.
I feel ya. But at least for me, no, you're right with that. That does stand out as a weird scene.
It was strange.
But luckily, that's for the most part the one really time that happened. They kind of that kind of thing just kind of goes away, which in a way makes it weirder. But
because it's a funny moment with the guy. I just when you think about it past the funny moment, it just stops making a whole lot of sense. But not the biggest deal. It was it just felt like that was one of the times I legitimately do think, and it's kind of an unpopular opinion. Well, I mean, only the second part of this is I think this is actually like a really funny movie and kind of one of the more like I think a lot of Marvel movies are funny, but like this one kind of had a unique vibe to it as far as its humor. And I feel like I always do this, but I compare it to Thor Ragnarok because everyone just kind of hails Thor Ragnarok as the funniest, like the most clever, witty Marvel movie ever. And I think Ragnarok is way overrated. And I feel like this is what is my example of like a lot, for the most part, more like clever humor that they're actually like, I don't know. It just feels like more thought was put into this, whereas Ragnarok is just more like kind of on the surface level. Like,
how many jokes we put in a minute and
yeah, like I mean, because Ragnarok is straight up a comedy. This one's not. It just has comedic elements, but I kind of like that more. Like it's not as much the scattershot approach to comedy, and it's
I feel you.
Yeah, so I just vibed with.
No, I mean we generally. It's one of those things one of those weird things where in the minority because I kind of share the same opinion. She's like, I don't rank Ragnarok as highly.
Yeah, it's good, but it's just not, you know.
I give it props though for making a Thor character I like. That outside of an Avengers movie, which definitely helped going into Infinity War.
I was just watching Infinity War a little bit earlier today. I was rewatching some of it, and I love Thor.
I mean,
Thor's great.
I mean, again, and
I did not.
Yeah, Ragnarok didn't. We don't love it as much, but at least for me, between Ragnarok and Infinity War, boosted Thor way up on my favorite MCU character list.
Absolutely.
We'll see how much that kill your babies thing we plan on doing.
Let's do it.
But yeah, let's see. Going on. Yeah, then Fury and Coulson come up. Be like, yo, girl, you weird.
How would you like seeing Coulson again?
I like seeing Coulson. I guess I'll say about this. Some of his stuff was weird. It felt like it felt like he wasn't planned to be there. They just kind of inserted him and said some weird lines.
Andy kind of hit it on the head, and they're like, Andy Cortez, kind of funny. He was saying it almost felt like Agent Coulson's actor died or something, and they were like using old footage of him or something. Yeah, because it was just seemed like he's just like silent and he's just kind of there, just not saying much and just doing it just felt off. Something about it felt weird.
It was weird to me. It's like I love Coulson. Like I was thinking about it. Coulson is probably the MCU character I spent the most time with as a whole.
Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, because Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s great. People should watch it. But yeah, that I like seeing him in here. But yeah, a lot of his stuff is a little weird. Yeah.
I mean, I guess
it's just like strangely quiet.
Yeah, I guess at least the like stuff in the car ride or whatever, it can be like, oh, well, it was an alien. It wasn't him. So
yeah, So you met that Skrulls attack, whatever. Carol chases Skrulls, and then we see Stan Lee on the train.
Oh yeah,
the Stan Lee cameo, and
really, he was rehearsing his lines for what was
Kevin Smith. I forget. Mallrats, is that it?
Huh?
Mallrats?
Oh yeah, it was Mallrats. It was Mallrats. Kevin Smith movie.
Kevin Smith posted he apparently cried his eyes out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So cool Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah, that's a very.
But it also makes you think from a meta reason. It's like, wait, the reason he was doing that is because he is the creator of Marvel. So it's one of the things. Don't think about it too hard.
Yeah, if you think about this, he's also on Thor's planet. Planet Earth.
Yeah, you don't think about that stuff. Right? Just take it for what it is. Then like you said, Coulson was replaced by a Skrull. Fury kills them in the car ride or whatever.
Yep.
Then I can't remember exactly how it happened, but Carol and Fury meet up and they go to the airbase.
Yeah, they meet up in the bar eventually because like
the bar. That's right. They meet up in the bar.
How does he know she's there? Oh, because they've she stole a bike, and they
Yeah.
has some description of her. But I still don't know how he found.
I felt like there was some weird. We can't remember. It doesn't mean it didn't make sense or something. We just kept up remembering why.
It was just like kind of the transition scene. But I think this is important. In the bar, I think this is the first time we really get to set up the relationship between Carol and Fury, which I think they had awesome chemistry in this.
They did.
Like, they worked together really well.
It makes me hope when we get a Captain Marvel 2, whether it be whatever time zone Fury's there.
Yeah. So please survive Endgame.
Right now he's he's in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Okay.
We've seen that in trailers. It's not a spoiler.
Yeah. Then guess he.
Spoilers free game.
Well, guess he gonna make it then. Good. We've said a bunch of times. Ironically, if you got dusted in Infinity War, you probably have better chances of being alive in the future.
In the end,
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I just like that. That is like the beginning of my favorite part of the movie, and I think we're about to get into my absolute favorite part of the movie. But like, I just love like her interrogating him to see if he's a Skrull, and just the weird thing of the tell me something no one would know. I can't eat toast if it's cut diagonal. For some reason, that just got
you didn't know that's like, yeah.
I don't know. That was cute. I like that a lot.
And they show it in the trailer, but I do like the whole thing of, how do I know you're not a Skrull? She's delays like,
how would I know?
Yeah, Skrulls can't do that.
How would I know a Skrull can't do that? Yeah, that was good. The one thing we'll talk about it more as it goes on, it's like one little problem I had with Captain Marvel is just with her character. I wish that they had committed a little more to her being the quirky character they were setting up. Because I feel like they couldn't decide if they wanted her to be quirky or stoic badass. And they flipped between those a little bit too much. Like, to the point where the quirkiness started to feel out of place, and I didn't want it to. Like, I loved her being kind of quirky and weird.
So I get what you're saying. I feel like they definitely lean more towards quirky overall.
I don't know. There was just times where it just wasn't enough for. I feel like it was missing a few more instances. It just wasn't.
Hear that, Mark? We need 5 more quirks.
Yeah, we did. Exactly 5 more quirks and then perfect.
Okay, let's say we get 5 quirks at the beginning of Endgame without any stoic. Would that be like get her leveled up?
I mean, like, Thor became a different character in this third movie. They're not afraid to change these things. And it's not that it wasn't there at all. It was just like,
nah, just messing.
It was a little off.
Yeah.
There was like portions of the movie where it just kind of feels like, where's Carol? Where's the, Yeah. And it was they mostly came out with her with Fury, because I think they just bring that out, but that was good.
Yep.
Right,
Anyway. Yeah, they go to the air base to find out stuff about Marvel and all that kind
This
of
is my favorite part of the movie.
They do that kind of stuff. Let's see, Skrull guy's name, Talos, is now taken over or hiding as Fury's boss. Forget that guy, Shield director's name.
Dude, man, yeah.
Do that or whatever. Tell Fury, stay close, and all that kind of fun stuff. Talos gets there with Shield people. They try to, and I guess some Skrulls also mixed in there.
And because Fury ratted on them. Fury called. Sorry. Yes, that's what you were saying. Yeah. The fact that Fury betrayed Captain Marvel, betrayed Carol there. But we'll get to it. I actually really like that. I feel like most of the time in these movies, if they had that happen where Fury ratted them out, that would have become an entire plot point.
Oh, how could I trust you?
Yeah, how can I trust you anymore or whatever? I kind of like that. It seemed like it was going to go that way. And then it was just like, hey, don't do that again. We cool? Cool.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Yeah, it's like, you can't be trusted with this. And even when she's in there, it's like, you're trusting the guy that just ratted you out. And it's like, yeah, we didn't know each other. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
I like that. That was refreshing to me.
Yeah. So the whole thing was cool. Action and stuff was cool. I like
tape.
Yeah, the tape.
The tape was.
Did all that with the tape, but you could have just.
You watched me sit here and play with tape.
I liked. Oh, this is my favorite thing that Coulson did. The whole Coulson thing of just go. I trust you.
Oh yeah.
That's a very Coulson thing.
That was cool. That was cool too.
Yeah. Cool. So they get out of there, find out some stuff. They go meet with Maria, Carol's old friend, in Louisiana.
I didn't like her. I didn't really like their relationship that much. This is where, like, I think her friend and especially the daughter were just really bad. Just the acting just did not work for me, especially the daughter. I mean, it was like, oh, you're back. We haven't seen you in 6 years and thought you were dead. And then her reaction was, oh, you're back. Yay. It was just like
I told you she wasn't dead.
It was just felt so
Even though she's been gone for over half my life.
Like, I could see the person holding the teleprompter up to the kid, like, say this. And she was just like reading it straight off. It just did not have the emotion that it needed to have. So I wish they had just put that emotion onto the older girl instead of her. I don't know. Or just get a better. I don't know. But
yeah. Okay, so also something we were talking about on our own after the movie about we didn't feel like the math with the girl added up.
Yeah, have you seen more about that?
I saw some stuff. Apparently, when they meet or whatever, she's like 11. So she was 5 when Carol disappeared. So over half her life, Carol was gone.
Yeah, she would not remember her that well if she was.
Yeah, immediately like Auntie Carol. Like, yeah, that's a little.
She needed to
that's a stretch.
She needed to be older than she was to make that work.
That's a little stretch to make her remember her that well.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, I have all these memories of you. It's like, I barely remember.
I guess the argument could be that she showed all those pictures and stuff, so she recognized that stuff, and that's how she kind of still remembered. But even then, the way she acted was like too familiar.
Yeah, it was way too. Because, like, I mean, like, you wouldn't start having, like, really good memories like that until you're at least 4. Yeah. And then, so, you know, that's a stretch.
I mean, again, that's one of those small things, but it's still weird.
It is strange.
Still call it out.
Seems like you should have just aged the girl up a little bit. Like, she could have been a little bit older, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, like, let's say make her 9 when Carol disappeared, and then she's just a teenager.
Yeah.
And then they can't have the cute little girl thing going on, but
But that resulted in a very bad acting anyway. But
then Talos shows up and pretty much goes through the whole thing, saying Carol's life is a lie, and then showing her proof with a black box of audio footage where I'm
sorry, Talos is the scroll dude.
Yeah, scroll dude.
Yeah. So I mean, what did you think about this twist?
Honestly, I thought it was cool, but it's like one of the most obvious things ever.
Like,
it was obviously going to be a thing where whether it be the Skrulls are good guys or not, they're gonna Kazimar was gonna fight the Kree.
I mean, like that was the only thing.
Because Krees end up being bad guys. We know this.
I didn't 100% know that the Skrull that turn was gonna happen with the Skrull. Yeah. All I knew is that it was gonna obviously end with the
honestly, the coolest thing about the thing.
Kree.
The Kree. Honestly, the coolest thing about the twist is, Skrulls were actually good guys the whole time.
Yeah, which I'll admit that I didn't really see that coming, just because of the way that they had seemed so antagonistic. Now, in hindsight, it's like, I probably should have seen that coming, but I still thought it was cool. It was.
So we see the twist. When I guess we didn't mention this, the whole thing when Carol disappeared, she was testing out a new plane thing or whatever with Mar-Vell, and they get shut down or whatever. It's Jude Law's character. Blah blah blah. Mar-Vell's kind of dying, and then the standoff between Jude Law and Carol. Carol shoots the engine energy thing. That's what gives her the power.
She sucks up the power.
Yeah, people seem to have a really big problem with that for some reason.
I mean, it's weird, but it's a superhero movie. It's no more
not as ridiculous as it's not as any more ridiculous than any other power getting thing. I think people are a little hung up on that.
I mean, we all buy a radioactive spider giving a kid spider power just because we've been reading it and watching things for years on it. This is no more stupid than that is. Yeah. That's pretty damn stupid. A radioactive spider gives you spider powers is pretty stupid.
And only one guy really gets it.
It's pretty dumb.
That's got her power. She remembers it's like, fuck the Kree. So they do a plan to, get the Kree or whatever. Get the Tesseract or whatever.
And you get her ship has been just like orbiting Earth basically. And
so
it's like, was this when he's like, you couldn't figure that out? You're my science guy.
Yeah.
And
then Science Guy dies.
Does he?
I think it was him. Like, remember when Remember, later Jude Law comes into a cabin and you see, Carol. I think pretty sure it's a science guy.
Yeah, I couldn't tell them apart visually, so I didn't
Racist.
think about it. Yeah, no. They all look the same.
But yeah, so he died. Science guy, R.I.P.
Boy right out for science guy.
Yeah.
His name's Bill.
Bill, okay. Bill Nye the Science Guy, dad. Yeah, they're going in the jet. Probably one of the funniest jokes with the whole thing. So, can you transform to
The best part of the movie. Go ahead.
Troublemaker's like, so can you transform to like a Venus flytrap?
He's like, I'll give you $50 if you turn into a Venus flytrap right now.
And then that's when we see that he's scared of
The cat.
Goose. Little Goosey.
Oh, before this, we had the her changing colors.
Yeah, changed with the girl.
Like, I would say, like, that suit is dope.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, like, Tim Geddes talked about this on Kind of Funny, so I'm kind of, like, ripping off what he said. But, like...
Yeah, we do that. We rip them off all the time.
Hey, this is not, like, original thought. I feel like this is, like... It's not the first time, but it's the first time that I felt it nailed it this much to where it's the perfect mix of... It looks like a comic book character, but it also looks cool in live action.
Yeah,
and like
neither Captain America's outfit is goofy as hell.
Yeah, it's corny and weird. Yeah,
which is kind of the point of it, even in the universe. But yeah,
but it sticks out.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like this is the first time, and neither end of that spectrum had to suffer at all. Like it looks badass, and it also looks bright and vibrant and straight out of a cartoon, a comic. Like it nailed both of those. Like, it looks great.
I agree. It looks great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was curious how they're gonna do the whole color thing. Like, are they gonna dye it? It's like, oh, okay, scientifically, so they can just change the color they want.
She has. I love that she has an aesthetic button. Like, I wish that I could just like and just change everything.
Yeah. That was neat. So they get on the thing, and it turns out on the ship is the Tesseract, as well as Talos's family and some of their friends and stuff, which is, I guess, a nice surprise.
Yeah. It's a little weird just how often the Tesseract is just like popping up in everything, but whatever. I mean, it was another way to like tie it into the other movies. I was a little surprised they did that. Like, I thought part of setting this movie is the 90s is you don't really have to touch a lot of that stuff, but it's, it never got as far as like Star Wars prequels where it's like you're answering questions that we don't need answered. It never got that far.
It's like Tesseract exists. This is how. Yeah.
It was weird. It was a little weird just that it's always popping up, but it didn't bother me that much.
So going there. Let's see. Carol's old peeps get in there, capture a lot of them.
Widowmaker.
Yeah,
the sniper just looks like Widowmaker.
Yeah, they take Carol to see the Supreme Intelligence and they talk or whatever. Carol like surpasses her limits, all Saiyan style, breaks her shackles.
Worst part of the movie, worst scene in the movie, in my opinion, that she fist fights this artificial intelligence in her mind. It makes no goddamn sense. I mean, like we said, everything's stupid, but I just thought that was a little weird. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
It just seemed like I just doing this for the visual effect of it, but it just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
But then afterwards, she got all colorful and lighty and stuff.
Yes, which that
glowing.
It was worth it.
She was Super Saiyan.
It was worth it for what we got to.
Yep. Yeah. So she gets her power. She pretty much becomes a god.
She's OP.
She's OP.
Completely OP. Immediately, like, the most powerful MCU hero, probably.
Yeah. Like, it's a weird thing between maybe her and Thor. No, probably not Thor. I don't know.
Thor just sends lightning, man.
Yeah. The lightning's powerful, and he's super strong and invulnerable.
She literally punched through, like, a starship.
Thor can do that now. Easily.
This is true.
And Doctor Strange, because of all his weird OP magic.
Yeah.
But he's gone now, so.
He did.
R.I.P. So yeah, Carol pretty much beats everyone up. Ronan shows up from Guardians 1.
Yeah.
He's a little more restrained.
I've seen people criticize Ronan's role or lack of role in this movie, but I kind of like the subversion that, like, you see Ronan earlier in the movie and you think, like, okay,
he's gonna be a big deal.
He's gonna be a big deal at the end, and I kind of like that. Like, yeah, you get to the end and it's like, nope, he's just turning tail and running. Like, I thought that was kind of a cool, and especially like the warheads come down. It's like, oh, there's a whole nother act of this movie, and it's like, no, there's not.
Nope. Carol just can take care of it.
She's just a badass, and she just ends it right here.
Yep, and then everyone's safe. They have a nice little family dinner.
Yes.
Oh
We have the also really like the Jude Law standoff
yeah,
at the end there, where he's like,
come on,
fight
no
me without your
weapons or
powers. It's like, I don't have anything to prove to you. Like, that was awesome. That was great.
Plus,
it reminds me of
to
Deadpool.
be fair, he was pretty much like no weapons or any of that stuff. I mean, he mentioned the powers, but hey, the power's all hers. So
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it was obviously because she's way stronger than you. So
yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. What did you think about the music? There was 2 times. There was a Nirvana song and a No Doubt song. Because this is a point of contention for me. I think when the No Doubt song starts, it feels really weird and out of place. Just because like this is not a Guardians type of thing.
Yeah.
They had not established the kind of like, out of place music, but it works because of the vibe. They had not established that, so I don't feel like they earned No Doubt. But as soon as it started, I was all in. So I'm conflicted. When it starts, I'm like, this feels wrong. But then when she starts beating people up, I'm like, hell yeah,
girl power, man.
I'm like, let's go. Like, I love No Doubt. I just love it, and that's probably part of it. Is that I love that song. I love No Doubt. I love.
We kind of forgot something, Darby. We kind of mentioned him, but we need to talk about Gooses and all his crazy stuff.
Yes.
We're going crazy, became a tentacle monster, eating everything, scratching, Fury. Now, people kind of don't like the whole Fury thing with the eye scratch. Some people found that kind of weird that he lost his eye from that.
I mean, it was predictable. It's what everyone predicted from the trailers.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a little bit of a bummer.
No, part of me kind of likes it that you think, and Fury kind of it's like he lost his eye in this badass way. No, he just got scratched by a cat.
Yeah,
Evil space
it's
cat.
very quick Star Wars spoilers. You don't care. Quick Star Wars: The Last Jedi spoilers. It's very reminiscent of Rey's. You don't care, right?
No.
Rey's parents are actually no one. And
I knew that. I knew that the day the movie came out.
And like it's kind of very reminiscent of that. It's like this really big build up thing, and it's like, no, screw you. No,
Yeah.
it's just this. It's like
That everything needs a giant payoff.
exactly. I'm fine with it there. It was just a little weird. Like he gets like his reaction didn't seem like he got just gouged in the eye.
Yeah,
I'm sure I know it was like infection. Like it just
Yeah, no. I remember they kind of described it. I think we talked about this earlier, but it was kind of subtle. Later when they're on the jet going back or the plane going back to Earth, it's like they mentioned his eyes, like, oh, he's got scratch, everything's fine. And Tao's just like he mentioned goose scratch, and Tao's like, oh no.
Yeah, I caught that.
Yeah.
I definitely caught that. Yeah,
I feel like some people did not.
Oh yeah, I mean, it could definitely be missed. It just still seemed, I don't know, but I mean, I kind of like that more than, like you said, more than it being
It's that big thing, like him standing in the way of Carol being hit,
or more than what Coulson said at the end. He was like, "Is it true that your eye got like gouged out when you were like defending the world against Skrulls or something or whatever it was?" He's like, "I cannot confirm or deny that." Yeah, that
and Goose is there staring like that was me.
It kind of wouldn't have fit the vibe of the movie
Yeah.
if it was this heroic thing, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of fine with it.
All right, so come back for that family dinner, blah blah blah. That's when Carol gives Fury the pager, or it was Fury's pager, and there was a joke there about it as being his mom, blah 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 blah. She got hold of it, obviously, like we mentioned earlier, modified it to like, yo, you can do this like galaxy the way. Call me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Do you feel? Do you have any reservations? I don't know how I feel. Do you have any reservations over like he waited to call her on this pager until now when there's been so many other worlds?
This is something I hinted at in our spoiler free thing when talking about like how this is a prequel or whatever to the other like in game and stuff and setting her up there. People have seemed to have a giant problem with that whole thing, like, oh, why did she call it then? Well, the basic answer is Marvel wasn't canon in this till then. That's the in-universe reason is the moment that, or through that adventure with Captain Marvel, Fury wanted a superpower team to defend Earth when needed. So he gathered that stuff for Avengers, and he wanted to use that team.
Yeah.
And I think that was planned. Also, something to... here's something else. He might have called Carol there. That might be canon. Doesn't just because she's super powered doesn't mean she can get there right away.
Well, that's what I was actually about to go to, because
all these movies take place usually in like a day.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and obviously, this is something like I could definitely maybe this should have been more clear in there, but again, like you said, this was not canon before. They did not know this, so they're having to kind of work with what they got. But I could totally understand, like, yeah, maybe he has called her before, but you got to remember, she's out there also dealing with an entire race of people who are in threat. So she might get a call from Nick Fury and be like, okay, I know you're dealing with an entire planet of people who are in threat. So am I. It's like, maybe she's like, I'm sorry, I can't come to you. Like, I have thousands of people.
Or she's out of range.
Too. It's just like, maybe. Yeah, there's
a lot of reasons for it other than.
But I could buy, like, maybe she can't put this entire race of people over this entire race of people. She has to just
and reason like she comes for the and also
I buy it as the reason she came this time was because, like, what happened to Nick, like, what happened to Fury. Like,
I feel like it's the bunch of, I mean, this may not be the first time she's come to Earth since then. She might have been here multiple times for other things we do not see that was not on camera, which, okay, that's obviously fine. I feel like, part of the reason she came this time for sure is, she's with a bunch of people that are in the universe. Mm-hmm. She's with Skrulls. She just sees a bunch of Skrulls disappearing.
Yeah, that's true.
And at the same time, getting something from Fury. The exact same time, getting something from Fury.
Like, this is probably related.
This is probably related. I gotta go now.
Yeah.
That's especially, okay, we'll get into the mid credits thing where the page is going off. Is ringing, and Captain America and Black Widow and all this stuff are looking at it. It goes off like, how we get back working, blah blah blah, and then she's over there. Where's Fury? Like, kind of a serious thing. Like, hey, I know this is related. Tell me what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Which is dope.
Oh, that scene was awesome. It was awesome post credit.
And we'll talk about this real quick. The post credit scene is just Goose going up on Fury's desk and barfing out the Tesseract. Yeah. So let's go in through the movie. Very good stuff. Like we said, Carol is a very fun character. I'm excited to see what she does in Endgame. And Darby, I know you don't want to. You haven't seen the Endgame trailer, and you don't plan on seeing it, which is fine. I'm going to say one thing about it. It's not really a spoiler. It's just kind of clarifying something that we thought from the mid-credit scene, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Captain Marvel's in it.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say what's actually going on in the scene, but the way. When I'll also say this, Black Widow's hair changes multiple times. Like, it's blonde in some parts and then red in some parts with some blonde into tips, showing, hey, time has passed by.
Okay.
So that's the main thing. When Captain Marvel's there, Black Widow's hair is blonde. So what I'm getting at is Captain Marvel's there from the beginning.
Yeah, which, I mean, we know that. Because
I'm just doing that. Clarify, because that's some people obviously were assuming.
Yeah.
And that's what it seems to be the case, which I am so happy about.
So I'm definitely expecting, in-game to start and she's there. Like,
yeah, or
I wonder
shortly, or at least shortly after or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I could see them. Marvel's not afraid about, like, starting the movie as if you've seen the movies before.
Look how Infinity War started.
I'm about to say,
it's literally started from the end of Ragnarok.
Like, the very end of Ragnarok, and it's like, if you watch the first 3 minutes of Infinity War, you have Ragnarok spoiled for you. Sorry. It's one of those things. So, like, I could see it starting, and, like, Marvel, she's already there. Like, we don't even see her
that's kind of what I'm kind of expecting, or at least shortly after, which makes me so happy we don't have to worry about that. The main thing we don't have to worry about is Tony and Nebula getting back to Earth.
Yes. Yeah.
Or meeting up with them somehow.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to start there or somewhere in space.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They got to get back, I guess.
Yeah, probably. But that might not be right away. Or it might be.
It might be. Yes.
Yeah, again, a lot of fun. Like, this movie, especially just some of the comedic moments and some of the character relationships. Honestly, I'm mostly just talking about Carol and Fury. Which obviously that is the relationship.
I mean, honestly, as far as the character goes, the three that were in here the most are the best characters in Carol, Fury, and Talos.
Yeah. And actually, I like Jude Law a lot, too.
Yeah, Jude Law, too.
Yeah.
But he wasn't in as much as Spider-Man.
No, obviously not. But
so, as far as, honestly, as far as the main cast, the ones that needed to be the best, they were the best, which is great. And they had great chemistry together.
One thing really quick that was kind of weird about Jude Law, and maybe I'm missing something, but it seemed like for the first half of the movie, he was, like, whenever the Kree were still the good guys, basically in the movie, he was saying like, no, he was telling Ronan, no, we shouldn't send these warheads. We'll kill a bunch of innocent people. We shouldn't do this. And it felt like as soon as the reveal happened and the Kree became the bad guys, suddenly he was just all for it. It was just kind of a weird like switch for him too.
I'm trying to remember. Was he all for like warheads and killing a bunch of people and stuff?
After that point, like he was with like he tells Ronan, let's do it. He tells Ronan to come. Like halfway through, he switches and he's like,
I have trouble remembering that exact part. Was it before or after he killed Kree, the science guy?
I think it was before. Cause I think it was before he. Yeah, I might be wrong, but I thought it was before he got there, and he told Ronan to come.
I can't remember.
It was just a weird thing where, like, I kind of wish there was a little more gray in there on either side of it, but it just kind of seemed me like he went from good guy to bad guy because the movie did that, not because anything happened to him. Yeah. You know, it was just it felt a little convenient there, but not the biggest thing. I just could have used some more gray there.
Fair enough.
And one thing that this is not a criticism of the movie, but it's something that James Woollum says that I actually think could have been a cool way to do this movie. He said, "What if?" And it could have been worse, but like, what if the pacing of this movie had been there was a lot more of Carol in the past, but it was almost like Carol in the past and Carol in the future were being told simultaneously, and it kind of showed that it's like, yeah, you like wipe all of her memories, you do all this, you take her to another planet, and she still rises back. Like the same thing's gonna happen. I thought that could have been cool. Like, as he described it, I got goosebumps, and he even said, "I just gave myself goosebumps." So you need to hear him describe it because it sounds like that could have been a cool way to do this movie, where it's like you finally get to the end point, like almost in both storylines, and then you realize like what happened.
That sounds badass, but unfortunately, that's one of those things. It sounds too experimental for a Marvel movie.
Yeah, which is kind of the bummer. I mean, this is the con of how every Marvel movie is good because they follow a formula, but it also means you don't get experimental stuff.
It's kind of which why Infinity War is so great in my eyes, breath of fresh air, because it goes off the forums because of how big of a what it is.
Yeah, because it's just no movie has handled that many plot lines, that big of a cast, like a
20 movie universe, and put all the threads together.
Just hearing that made me think like this is there. I think there are few cons to what the MCU is doing right now, but that is one of them. Is that I feel like we just don't get the experimentation that maybe we could get. And if we did get that experimentation, we would probably get some movies that are really bad, but we'd also get some movies that are like standout. Like this is a weird thing to say, but like because they're so different. But I feel like the MCU, for as amazing as it is, it doesn't have a Dark Knight. It doesn't have a like this defies a lot of your expectations. This is just like a standout, just like really well thought out movie. I mean, all these are well thought out, you know what I mean? But like, it just doesn't have that level of experimentation, and it's because they have to tie 22 movies together. And it's, I don't envy them there. It's hard, but
no,
yeah. So, fun movie.
And it's again, what's exciting? We'll get to see Captain Marvel again in a month.
I know, it's so soon. So
that's probably a busy time for her. I mean, it's depending how close the filming was for all this stuff together.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they filmed Infinity War and Endgame like back to back, so she might have filmed Endgame before.
I would expect probably, or at least a lot of it, because that was filmed a long time ago. It's gonna be interesting. I kind of see her almost as potentially being one of the like leaders in the next wave of Marvel movies.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. If they do the whole thing, we kind of think about it and kind of killing retiring the old guard. As far as new guard goes, the Guardians are still going to be a thing, but we'll have Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Spider-Man, whoever else they decide to.
Shazam! It's crossover.
So yeah. We're going to get more Captain Marvel movies. I mean, in the first weekend, it made $500 million.
Yep.
I'm curious to see how it does in the long run, but since the reviews have been overall positive, I don't expect a giant drop. No. Like we've seen like with Batman v Superman and that kind of stuff. movies that don't get as get a reception.
Yep. It's a good one, Jeff.
Yep. And Darwin to think again. Yeah, we got Endgame next month, and then like 2 months later, Spider-Man.
Oh shit.
And then who knows when we get the next. Marvel
I'm
movie.
down for Jake Gyllenhaal. Like I like Jake Gyllenhaal. And
Yeah.
just, I don't know.
I'm down for
Homecoming
Spider-Man
is just-
palling around with Nick Fury.
That too. That too. Oh my god.
Yep. What I'm trying to think. I guess we
Man,
might
this
find
is
out.
such a good time to be a Spider-Man fan. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't think they really have much in the way like confirmed as far as after Far From Home.
No,
It's kind of is exciting in a way, but it's kind of like
I think we all know another Black Panther's coming. We all know
Yeah.
another Captain Marvel's coming, but nothing,
Another Guardians is obviously coming. James Gunn's back, whatever.
Yeah.
But that one won't be for a while.
But we don't have any information on any of those. You
Nope.
know, they're just like we know.
We don't
they're
know
out.
what other new heroes they might try to.
And it sounds like Guardians 3 is going to be a long time.
Yeah, I was saying
Yeah.
that James Gunn's apparently gonna do Suicide Squad first.
Yep. So that's a ways off. Yeah, I have a feeling we might be getting less Marvel movies the next like 2 years than we normally do. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just you know,
DC will step it up.
we'll see.
Yeah, I think we got.
I know Wonder Woman 1984 got pushed back, didn't it? I thought they
Is
said
it still this year?
No, I think.
Oh yeah, I think it.
it's next year at least.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 2020 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Shazam. Yeah. Oh yeah, wait. We're posting that. What's the guy from Her? His name.
Walking Phoenix.
Walking Phoenix Joker movie.
That's this year.
I think so.
Oh.
So that's one of those movies because it's so separate. I mean,
Who
from
knows?
what-
Who knows?
Yeah, that one could be like a trash fire or a masterpiece.
Yep.
So that's kind of exciting. Worst case scenario, it's another DC movie.
I like Walking Phoenix a lot, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean anything. There could be good
Yeah.
actors in bad movies.
and that has been the case.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Any parting words in Captain Marvel?
Good, solid entry into the MCU. Makes me excited for the future of Miss Carol Danvers, and excited to see her in Endgame and see how she interacts with all the other characters we've grown to know and love over the years.
Yeah, I think she's set up well. Like her personality is gonna play well with some of these other ones. And the unfortunate thing is, I don't feel like there's gonna be much room for levity in Game, but maybe they'll find a way.
It could be a little more in the beginning. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I want to see her and Thor kind of spar.
Have sex.
That too.
Yeah, no, because they're like we said. I don't think there's much of an argument for anyone else being as powerful as those two. Like those two are the most powerful.
Again, since Doctor Strange is gone,
Yeah, and even that's questionable. But he's
he's powerful in a different way.
Yeah.
As far as like, obviously he has a bunch of magic, but as far as raw power, yeah, obviously Captain Marvel and Thor are far above everyone else. Like it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Like you have a talking raccoon there standing next to a god of thunder and whatever Captain Marvel is.
Like Iron Man, you just have a metal suit, man.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Captain Marvel's gonna melt that shit.
You got a shield. Captain America has a shield.
Yeah. Like, you just have guns. Hawkeye, you have a bow and arrow.
Oh, Hawkeye, get the hell out of here. Why couldn't he have gotten dusted?
Because we need his character
We
motivation.
need nothing from him, Jeff. Hawkeye, we don't need anything that Hawkeye is bringing.
I'm gonna laugh if Hawkeye ends up being a character you love by the end.
He's been in quite a few movies, and I have hated him in all of them. It would be quite the feat. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.